Ẹ káàbọ̀.
Ẹ káàbọ̀.
Ṣé láfíà ní gbogbo ènìyàn gbogbo ọmọ Odùduwà ọmọ ẹ káàárọ̀ ẹ jíire. I am Awo Ifajimini.
And I am Awo Ifategunshe.
And you were tuned in to
the best,
the greatest
podcast
on the planet Earth. Let's
talk
IFA.
Ashe.
I say why.
Ashe, wow.
How was everybody?
We are back.
We are back.
With
we
another one.
Praying that y'all are doing well.
Yes.
You and your families. There's a lot going on out here. So we pray for everybody's good health, long life.
Ashe.
And all Ire. We want to say thank you to all our listeners. Mm-hmm. Please continue to like, share and subscribe. So today's topic
What's the topic, brother?
The top 5 reasons people leave African spirituality.
Do they leave?
Yeah.
Do we have some that actually leave African spirituality? Wow.
There's a lot going on. So we figured we would break this down for the people. So the first reason that we have at the top of the list is abuse or mistreatment.
Abuse or mistreatment. And how does that come? What does that look like?
Many different forms of that. I know Obai Sejamin, the first, he by Ratorun. I know the Obai talked about the Elays and the godparents. I'll let you illuminate us on that.
Well, I can remember I was a page at the time. There was a conference in Oyotunji back in 1987.
Tell the people what a page is, brother.
A page is basically a runner.
Mm-hmm.
Like a page is, you as a youth, as a teenager, myself and my brothers, some of my brothers, we were giving the position of a page in all of the meetings that were going on in Oyotunji. Mm-hmm. And we was given those positions because, for one, our elders wanted us to be part of the meetings as youth to know what was going on.
I see.
At the same time, when clients came to the gate for one of the chiefs, we had to go run, talk to the client, and then come back to the meeting and report to the particular chief or priest that their client was there. So we were messengers.
Right. You was runners. Right.
We was runners.
So what did the Baba said? His prophecy has come true.
I can remember saying back in 1987, I can't remember the month or anything, but I know it was 1987, that Obatawaja in the conference, Orisha conference in Oyotunji, that they wanted to pretty much kind of do away with the godparent situation, right? So there was talks. Some people agreed, some people disagreed, for whatever reason. However, the notion was on the table that I think we need to move on from that, because at that time there was a lot of complaining going on from godchildren about their godparents mistreating them, almost to the point where the godparents were being looked at as like gods or goddesses, you know what I mean? And,
we see it today.
And they can exert their power
and influence
on the godchildren. And so that notion was brought to the table. It was just put on the table. They didn't really go too deep into it, but it was a nice discussion on that. It never happened, of course, because at that time there was a lot of godparents.
It was already going. It was a monster. You was already unleashed. You can't stop it.
Right. So think about this: you blocking people's finances, you blocking people who had authority over people. And I'm not saying all godparents was mistreating.
Not at all.
Because I know some good godparents that really do the right thing to their godchildren.
Right.
But however, there were those who were not. And you got to understand at that time, in the world at that time, African spirituality was under scrutiny because of the sacrifices that was going on.
Right.
You know, they were saying there's animals out in the street, there's animal heads and birds on the street. So all of these things was going on at that time in the world.
Right.
So the focus was on African spirituality.
Right.
And it was a negative.
It was in a negative light, right? Of course it was.
So all of this is going on at that time. And so the notion of, okay, godparents, yes, there were godparents mistreating their godchildren.
Even to a sexual
taking advantage of them. Yeah, to a lot of levels, this was happening. So I just remember that was something that was put on the table in that meeting as a page. I can remember hearing that as a teenager, as a youth. I don't think I was probably about 11 or 12 at the time, but I can remember that was put on the table.
Yeah.
You know, and it was maybe we should change it to I don't know if it's even a Yoruba word for it, but if we should change it into being a spiritual guide.
Yeah, I think that would be more fitting because when you say God parent, you got two words in there. God and parent. And I know some people, men or women, that's
a heavy load.
They take it a little bit too far.
Because maybe they don't understand how it go. Or maybe they do don't. And they just misuse it.
Oh, you know what I mean? Godparents?
Yeah, because that's strong.
Yeah, that's ego. It's you know, it's common sense. Like we know people. I mean, this can be extreme. And I know y'all out there watching this know what we're talking about. Where the godparent has way too much control and dominance over a full-blown adult's life.
Yeah.
And we see a lot of it where the godchildren, they freely and willingly, like, they go along with it. And that's another part of it that I don't,
but a lot of them don't know.
They don't know.
They just think this is how it goes.
Yeah, this is not a cult, people. Like you got free will.
Right. So take the word God in the
spiritual
European sense.
God parent. Yeah.
And then you got parent. That's powerful. That's almost like God parent.
It's like a master, like in martial arts. Your teacher, your sensei, your master, like that's how you put that person on a high, but they don't control your whole life.
But they don't say God parent, they say master.
Yeah, master.
Master is somebody who mastered an art and is passing that art on.
Can we say maybe Oluo? That's better than,
or even Ojibwana.
Spiritual guide. That's what an Oluo is. That's your spiritual guide. That's your teacher. That's your
or just Baba Lorisha and Iya Lorisha.
But no matter what you call it, the key is for the guide, the teacher, to not take advantage of the student. That's basically what we talk about.
Right. But what I'm saying is, when you say godparent, it's like, is there a Yoruba word for godparent? There's got to
be a better word for that.
Because people say Babalosha. They say Ialosha.
Yeah.
That don't translate into godparent.
No, it don't. That's just a priest that's an Orisha priest.
That means
male
that's
or
your
female
father.
Orisha priest.
That's your father within God, Babalosha. That's your godfather in whatever Orisha tradition that you're following. Babalo Ialosha. That's like your mother in your tradition of Orisha.
Bani.
But that doesn't translate to God.
To God parent.
Yeah. God. And the European is like, you're a God. Like you're you know what I'm saying?
People get a little power and they get a little influence, and because the tradition is structured in such a way with Dobale and Kunle, which is the how you properly supposed to salute, and these things, that goes to a lot of people's ego, where they're looking at like, okay, for people that don't know this, dobale is when the men prostrate. That's how you properly salute a priest. The women kunle, they go to a knee or take both knees. That's how women properly salute a priest or a priestess, excuse me. And so you do realize that you are not actually like bowing or paying homage or reverence to the person, just like, and that's it. Like you're paying homage to the earth, you're paying homage to the ancestors, you're paying homage to the spirit and the tradition of IFA. And you're also paying homage to that person, but it's not. So some people take it on an ego trip, like, oh, I got people bowing to me.
It's the orisha.
It's not what it is.
That person have been initiated to, that you're giving reverence to.
Right.
When you dobale to a priest, you're not just dobaleing to the person. It's the ashe that you're respecting.
And the student needs to understand that, and the priest needs to understand that, because this is going to a lot of people's ego. We hear this all the time. Oh, my godparent, my godfather or my godmother, I'm not allowed to learn from anybody else. I'm not allowed to go here or go there. I'm not allowed to read this book. What?
Yeah.
What? You know how many times I heard that?
Man, I hear it. I still hear it all the time.
These are red flags, people. These are red flags.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most of my calls I deal with a lot of people, whether they're incarcerated or they're not. I get a lot of calls for divination or whatsoever. But a lot of the calls I get as well, you know, it's like I'm calling. They're kind of calling on a low.
That's right.
You know, because they didn't get permission.
They don't want no smoke. Yeah,
they don't want no smoke.
And they're scared.
Orisha parent
that parent is going to do something to them.
Right, because they were told in my ile, my baba or my iya said I can't speak to no other priest.
Right.
I'm the only one that if I have a question, I just come to them. You know what I mean? And it's like this tradition, this culture is based on education. It's based on learning from whomever. There's so much out here.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't want your godchild. But
and
if your godchild come to me and ask a question about something, I'm going to tell them based on my experience and based on what I know. If I don't know it, I'm going to say, I don't know it. Maybe you need to talk to your godparent. Maybe they know. But if I do know, I'm going to say, well, this is how this goes, this, there, and there. And if they say, well, Baba, can I get a reading from you? Well, you need to go to your God. You need to check in with your people. I don't want no problems.
And see what's going on with your, I mean, it's not like you a child, like you need to, but I just want to check and just make sure that I'm within protocol.
Exactly.
And what's going on with you and your,
protocol.
Let's do a quick check-in, right? Because I don't want to get mixed up in the middle of stuff. Because that's what it boils down to, is that people think that they want to keep their students and their godchildren close like this because ultimately they feel like they might be recruited or persuaded, or they might just choose to go to another ile, which means that, that can affect the teacher monetarily. Now they don't have that income coming in. I'm telling y'all the truth.
You say this so diplomatically, but go ahead.
Now their bottom line, their profit margin is being reduced because of shrinkage and inflation. No, I'm just playing. They, at the end of the day, that's what they scared. They are scared that you're gonna go somewhere else and they're not gonna be able to eat off you no more. This is what we do at Let's Talk IFA. We teach the people and we keep it real. We don't tell you what you want to hear. We tell you the truth.
What you need to hear. However, this is the thing. yes, you have all types of characters.
Oh, man.
You have all types of characters with motives, different motives.
Different characters.
And I don't never want to say that the motives are all bad because this thing is about balance. You know, you got your positive, you got your, I don't even want to say positive, negative, because I don't even look at negative as what the norm look at negative as.
Bubble,
But you have what you got your people who are going to do the best that they can to pass this tradition on.
Based on what they know.
Based on what they
People
know.
can't give you what they don't have.
Then you got those who are just straight fraud.
Right. That's the other end of the spectrum.
That's the
they
other
don't
side.
know nothing.
Right. So
and it's fraud.
Depending on what your or goes along with is very, you gotta know. If you chose someone to follow and they're not legit, you got to look at yourself.
And them.
And them, but look at why did my Ori choose that?
Because you needed to learn a certain lesson.
And you may have.
Because, right.
You
and that's okay.
You needed to learn a lesson.
That's okay.
But what I want people to know, in this tradition, you have choice.
You got choice.
You can move if you feel you're not getting fully what you supposed to get, and your heart's desire and your spirit is just not feeling it. You have the right to move on.
Of course, without having to fear retribution because listen, if you have to fear retribution from your godparent or your spiritual teacher or your Oluo or whatever it is, don't you think that you might be in the wrong place anyway? Think about that for a second. This is not how this works. You shouldn't be with anybody that you feel like has that type of character because you made a choice. That's just like saying, if I shop at Food Lion and I decide to stop going to Food Lion and I go to Harris Teeter
or Publix,
somebody from one of the workers from Food Lion gonna come and punch me in my face.
Because you went over to
because
Publix.
I stopped. Like, that's my choice.
Right. You have a choice.
I can shop wherever I want. If I say I'm done, then I'm done.
And guess what? Most people are shopping.
Elay hoppers.
They Elay hopping. They're shopping for a Baba or a Ia. They're shopping. And the thing is, you don't want to get in that frame of mind of shopping.
You don't want to be a hopper.
You don't want to just hop from. You want to know, and this is the important thing is, you want to know your path in this tradition. You want to know the importance of your blueprint. So maybe the person that you're with, once you know your blueprint, the person that you with, maybe they have they can guide you properly. You know, but this tradition, what I know is about, you have free will, you have choice, you can go to whomever you want to, and you can leave whomever you want to. And sometimes you may start out with someone, and then you just may graduate to somebody else, and that's okay.
No, that happens.
It happens. It's okay.
It's gonna happen more than likely.
It's okay. I can't give someone everything. That's why I don't care. When a client said, well, Baba, I went on to such and such Babalawo. Well, écoutez. You learned
Thank you for checking in with me.
Exactly.
So I can give you my blessings
on your continued elevation.
We don't care as long as you are good.
That's
and you
what
feel
matters.
Like you're doing the right
That's
thing.
What
and guess
matters.
What? If you felt like maybe the grass was greener on the other side and you want to come back, ain't no hard feelings. The door is open. We don't care.
We don't.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But mistreatment and abuse.
You have the right.
Up there.
You have the right to move on if your spirit, if your ancestors say it's time to move forward. And it's okay. If you're if your Baba at that point or your Iya at that point feels threatened and they say they're going to work you, well, that's the character.
That's their
of
character.
them.
But don't stay out of fear.
Don't
That's
stay.
like staying in an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
So you just going to stay there and keep getting punched in the face? You know what I'm saying? Like, no, don't do that. Just bounce. Just leave. You'll be fine. Trust me.
Your
most of the
ancestors
time,
got you.
They got you. Most of the time, that's just talk anyway.
If you
To
resurrected,
scare you.
if you venerated and resurrected your ancestor shrine in that time being with that person, and then they say, well, if you leave this Ile, we're going to
Whatever.
do this. I've heard stuff where people had to turn their lekes in.
Yeah, we hearing that now. Turn their lekes in, turn their orisha in.
Turn it, yeah.
No, once you purchase something, that's yours. And you move on if you need to. Abuse and mistreatment is so many. We could probably do a whole podcast just on that, but we not. So
we're gonna move on.
Yeah.
To number 2,
scamming.
Ouch!
Oh man,
that's an all-time high.
The scams.
It's an all-time
listen,
high.
People, listen. And I don't know how many times
social media.
We said this before, and we're gonna keep saying it. If a Babalawo or Ianifa jumps in your inbox on social media, 99% of the time, it ain't right.
Hey, I get it.
Please stop. Just don't do it. I'm telling y'all. Listen, they still doing it though.
I get it.
That's what I don't understand. Everybody gets it because these people are hustling. They in Nigeria or whatever they at. Shout out to all my true brothers and sisters on the continent, including in Nigeria, all my Yoruba people. But it is what it is, man. They hustling. They see it's like we food to them. And they just get a few people, maybe send them $50 here and there and say, oh, I need to do a reading for you. My ancestors sent me. Your ancestors said you need this. Da.
Listen.
They get a few of them. They good for a month. They done fed their family and paid all their bills. And that's not it.
And
Please stop.
And everyone in Nigeria, and the reason why I say Nigeria, because Nigeria is always tainted as the scamming place.
And with the Orisha thing, that's where it's coming from.
That's where it come from. But not all. We know some legit.
Not.
Me and you know some legit people.
Yeah, of course.
We deal with
It's millions of people in Nigeria. So don't get taken by the scammers.
Right. And so again, it's up to you. It's your choice. If you decide, if somebody come in your inbox and they say, IFA told me I need to do a reading for you. And if you go for it, it's on you at the end of the day. It's a choice that you made. Know that it's a choice that you made. The world is a marketplace. Orun, heaven is our home.
I say.
Earth is a marketplace, heaven is our home. Ayeloja Orunile. Right? So, everybody's here people here shopping, people here selling. So if you go for the scam, because some people don't know if it's a scam. Some people just say like, oh my God, he said I gotta get a reading or I'ma die. Like, you gotta understand, they might send that message out to 100 people.
100. It's a numbers game.
Knowing that they might just get one
they might
or
get
5
one.
people.
Yeah.
That's good.
But they good. If they get, don't be that one.
If they get one out of 100.
Please don't be the one.
They're getting about 5. They're getting about 2 to 5 grand. Easy.
Oh yeah.
I'm telling you.
Out of them 100, they probably getting a good, at this point, probably 5 to 10. That's 5 to 10%.
Yeah. They're going to get somebody.
And then the next thing they're going to be saying they want to marry you.
And some people, some people go for it. I know a lot of people.
Listen.
I know a lot of close people that fell for it.
Scammers.
They fell for it.
Scammy whammy.
They fell for the scam. And now, it's like they're in the hole.
Let's talk about another form of scamming. Some of the brothers and sisters over here that don't know what they're doing.
Ouch.
that have, maybe they're initiated, maybe they're not. But the point is they don't have the training, they don't have the authority, and they don't have the ashe to do what they are supposed to be doing, which is divination, which is maybe initiation, which is maybe you receiving the Risha from these. Listen, these people are screwing up people's lives.
And how does that look? How does how does that look when you know this person don't know what they do?
No, that's the thing. They don't know.
They
don't know.
How does that, like, for you, when you walk into a place,
right,
and you said, let's say you see somebody doing an air ball for a young man or a group of young men, and you like, well, wait a minute, something ain't right. Let me just say this.
People don't know.
One way that I know, that I've seen over and over and time again, I continue to see it, is one, when, and I've walked into a place and seen this many times, and there's an air ball being done, and there's during the air ball, they smoking a blunt, they taking shots of Hennessy or shots, you know what I mean? Doing the ritual. This is happening.
Yeah.
The officiating priest is blowing.
Might be sniffing a line or two.
Why the ebb ball is going. I've never seen that, but I've seen, like, doing the process of the ritual where there's blunts being passed around while the ebb ball is being done.
Yeah, that's a sign.
And I'm like, wow, like, you know what I mean? Like, this is not how that goes.
Tell them about the call you got the other day.
Call I got the other day. I don't know if I want to share that one.
Well, then you got to say no names.
Like, well, I don't. Well,
let's put it in a different way then. If your Baba is locked up,
that's a problem.
That might be a sign that maybe that shouldn't be your Baba.
Yeah.
If you say, I need a reading because my Baba got locked up.
Yeah. That's
a sign.
That's a sign.
Yeah.
The Baba is locked up.
Just a little bit.
Like, why is the Baba locked up? The Baba is locked up. Yeah.
The Baba locked up.
These are concerns. We came up in the era where priests had to be disciplined. You have to think like a priest. You have to act like a priest. What does that look like? What is the mindset of a priest? How does a priest move? How does they carry themselves? How does a priest present themselves as a nobleman, as a person of good character and integrity, as a person that shows discipline, a person who is humble, a person who has respect, a person who shows gratitude. You know, these are some of the characteristics of a well-groomed Yoruba priest the traditions of our ancestors. You know, we're living in a time now where anything kind of goes. You know,
man.
There's a lack of training. There's a lack of discipline.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people can get initiated quick. If people can get it, I remember, because I grew up around the old schoolers. If you can't, I've seen many times where a person came to one of the old schoolers that we grew up under with all of the money for the initiation, but their character wasn't good. And the elder said, nah, I don't want your money. But what I want you to do is get your character right. And when we start seeing progress in your character, then maybe we'll initiate you. When the Orisha says it's time for you to get initiated. You know what I mean? Now you can throw a stack down. You can be a drug dealer. You can be a murderer. You can throw some money down and get initiated tomorrow if you had the money. It's all about the money. It's so commercialized now where anything goes.
You know,
anything goes.
And as far as the scamming goes, you know, this is not a joke. When you're looking for a spiritual guide and a spiritual teacher, Luo, Pablo Larisha, Ia Larisha, whatever, take your time. Do a little research. You don't have to rush because we have seen a lot of people waste a lot of time and a lot of money doing things with people that they shouldn't have done, where it just made their life worse because they didn't want to listen. Either they didn't want to listen to other people that tried to warn them, or they ignored themselves. They ignored their Ori Inu, that little voice that was telling them not to do it, but they went ahead and did it anyway because of whatever the reason was. And just, it's better to take your time than to rush into something and get with people or a person that don't know what they're doing. And the consequences, trust me, like, it's real.
Yeah, and I just this, one of the things, it's this brother I know. He's on Instagram. I don't want to call his name out on this podcast, but because I don't want to cross that line like that. But the brother says something, and I highly agree with the brother. He said, we're living in a spiritual boom right now. And as we know, this IFA boom is a big thing. Like, it was a period where there wasn't babalawos here in this state, in this United States, right? It was just olorishas. And people were doing the cowrie shell divinations. And then you had babalawos, but they were kind of underground. The Ifa boom didn't happen until like the 90s. That's when you started seeing this Ifa, and everybody started flocking to the babalawos for readings. Now, that's all people do is go to the babalawo. You don't see, you have very few people that go to Olorisha for Erindi Logun or Marindi Logun divination, but mostly everybody got to go see a babalawo, right? But when you look back, even before the Olorisha priest and before the coming of the babalawo, what did you have? All we had in those times were the root workers, right? People just went to the root workers. That's all they knew. They knew they can go to Mr. or such and such down the street to get some root work done to fix whatever problem they had. So I always say in this country here, before the coming of the Orisha and the Ifa and all of that, people solved their problems. They just had the root workers. I don't know what they had. They had what they had.
At that time.
At that time. So now we have our African spirituality that we've embraced, which is the culture. And my thing is, let's not embrace just we got to embrace
the hot.
We got to embrace the cultural aspect of it.
Yeah.
Because you can, just like you go to a babalawo, many people believe this now. Just as they go to a babalawo, they like, well, shoot, I can go down to Dr. Buzzard down the road and get some stuff done and fix my problem. Mm-hmm. But when you come into IFA, a true IFA household, you're getting culture.
Mm-hmm. I say.
You ain't just there to get a reading and doing that ball, and then you like, No, you there to know the protocol. Mm-hmm. You there to learn the culture.
And these are some of the biggest reasons people are leaving. So number one was abuse and mistreatment. Number two is scam. People have gotten scammed so bad that they don't know who to trust. They don't know where to go. They feel isolated. They feel stuck. So I'm going to take a pause for a second, which is the reason that we created the African Spirituality Blueprint.
Sure.
So holla at us if you want to check that out. But scamming is rampant right now. Nigeria, America, don't get scammed, right? At this point, I feel like there's too much information out here and people that you can kind of go to for guidance so that you don't get scammed, because in certain places it's a priest on every corner, and you gotta when you coming into this, like I said, slow down and just really kind of and look at it, especially to my young people. Just because somebody's talk to you and they say a lafia and a couple of words that you ain't never heard before, and they start talking to you, don't jump. Just be quick to jump up and think they are Baba, whatever that means.
A Baba. Baba.
That they a priest. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful with that. Number three. The number three reason that people leave African spirituality.
Misinformation.
And
what does that look like? The basics. If you don't know,
you're not getting the fundamentals.
If you haven't been taught, when you enter an ile and you don't know how to do a basic greeting, or you don't know the basic language of how to greet your spiritual father or your spiritual guide, that's the first thing you should learn is the greeting. You should learn the language. Ekaro, Bawoni, like basic things. When you come to the temple, not to just get a reading. Do you know how to greet the elders? Dobale for men, Ekunle for the women. Like, these are basic, these are part of the protocols. If you decide to join an ile, how do you greet your spiritual guide, your spiritual father, your spiritual mother? I'm not going to say godparent, because that's just too much to put on a human being's head to me as a title. So I'm going to say spiritual father and spiritual mother, or spiritual guide. How do you greet them?
And the fundamentals, a lot of people are not getting the fundamentals. And then on top of that, they're not getting that. But what they are getting is a lot of stuff that's off, and a lot of stuff that's not really in alignment and not accurate and not true. And I saw we saw this video where a young lady did a video about why she left traditional African spirituality. I think she was in Lukumi or whatever. And I listened to that. I said, wow, no wonder you left. You think that's true? You think this is true? You think that's true? None of that stuff she was saying was actually true. It was a lot of misinformation. So no wonder you left, because that's what you think,
Yeah, I saw it as a conflict that whatever, she must have some strong ancestors that fought against whatever that was. But I think then she just went online, or she filmed herself, or however she did it, and put it up on YouTube, and she was saying a lot of stuff that was off.
Yeah, she had a lot of misinformation.
You know,
You have to. I guess if you don't know, you don't know. Like if you're a student, you don't know you're being taught. You got to ask yourself, how does this make you feel? Does this feel right? Like, does this, you know what I'm saying? And there's so much information out here now. There's really no excuse, because if you want to find the accurate information, you can find it.
but see, she was looking for. To me, she was looking for some juju or some. She had this. To me, she had this idea of African spirituality being some type of root. What, like, I don't think she was looking for what she was really. I think if she would have found the cultural aspect of it, it would have pleased her.
Yeah.
If she was looking for that part of it, wearing African clothes. You know, those things are empowering. It gives you pride when you put on African clothes, the traditional clothes of your ancestors. That just automatically, when you do that for the first time, and then you look at yourself in the mirror and you like, wow, I got on African clothes and I look beautiful. It gives that sense of pride all of a sudden. Instead of just saying, well, I went to this ritual and we did these rituals and we did these candles, that's that other side of it.
Yeah, and when you're being taught the wrong things, you know, it makes it really difficult to grasp the beauty and the blessings of this culture, because you're being led wrong. You're being taught wrong things. So no wonder you have this attitude and these, like, she was narrating these things that she thought to be true. And I was like, who taught you that?
Yeah, whatever she was saying was misinformation.
It was way out there. It was misinformation. So people get that misinformation, and it causes them to be like, no, I don't think this is for me. But they don't have, the right information, right?
And it could have been she spent a lot of money. She spent a lot of time and hours trying to learn, and maybe she wasn't. Maybe she, because sometimes in these spiritual elays, you got to deal with other people, and then some people don't get along with their god brothers and sisters, however you want to call it. They don't get along, and so they stray away from the household because of that as well.
It's important. The blind leading the blind. You get misinformation, and then you're not fortunate enough to be led to correct the information.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Don't know how. Don't have a they don't know.
I don't know, man. It's out here now, though. Like, if you really looking for, like,
it's so commercialized. This tradition and these practices are so commercialized now that anybody can come in. You got so many books out here with IFA. Yeah. Like, somebody can easily go and buy a nice African outfit.
Oh, yeah.
A barriere or a shoke.
Oh, no question.
They can easily buy an Iroke offline.
Oh, yeah.
They can buy an Irukere offline. They can buy an Opwele offline.
Listen, you got Europeans
and they can
writing books about Orisha with African clothes on. I ain't gonna say no names. We got a few of them.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah,
it's like, how you gonna write a book on something and teach something?
And your soul,
stop it.
This
ain't even your culture,
right? But I'm saying you got people out here. It's so much. It's access to everything now. You can go buy an Oduifa book with all 256 Odus. You can buy an Opwele.
It's a thin line.
You can buy a mat. You can buy African clothes, throw that on, and pose as a babalawo. Boom. And you're not even a babalawo. Boom. And you can go and you can go on the street corner and get one of these little hustling boys that's always getting caught by the cops and say, well, I'm a babalawo. I can protect you. You know what I mean? And they'll think that person is a real babalawo.
It happens all day.
And they just paying them.
It happens all day. It's a couple Europeans that have done some real research and have put some, couple quality, but it's few or far between. But you got some others that, you don't want to read that.
It's
a lot out. It's a lot of information.
It's too much
out here.
to me. It's too many secrets about our tradition that have been exposed to the public, and a lot of secrets I think that were supposed to be secrets are now in books. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can buy those books,
and you confront.
You got Akoshe Ifa books on exactly how to make that particular Akoshe Ifa medicine. You have it. Anybody can pose as a priest now.
They can pose, yeah. You can pose without that.
Misinformation.
Yeah, now it just makes it a little easier. Now there's a price to pay for that. But most people, they don't care about that. They just do what they want to do.
They're trying to survive.
They're not worried about, the consequences. But there's some heavy consequences for playing around with that type of stuff.
Something you're not sanctioned to activate.
You're not sanctioned to do. You don't have the ashe for that.
You don't have the key.
Yeah. So
to open that door.
That takes us to number 4. Hopelessness. Number 4 reason that people leave African spirituality. They done got scammed maybe. Maybe they had a, bad experience with a godparent or two. They've been taught some wrong stuff. And they are just trying to genuinely help themselves and seek the blessings and learn about Ifa Orisha and the ancestors and improve their life. And they really trying to get some help, but now they've given up. They lost hope. Now their hopelessness has set in. And they just, they just leave. I don't know, some people go back to church or they just become agnostic or atheists or I don't know, whatever people do, but they just leave and say, nah, we hear it all the time. I know I was talking to somebody recently and they had a Yalosha and they said a lady, she's Muslim now. Her husband died and now she Muslim. Like she in the mosque. Like everybody's not built.
Yeah, some people go back to the church. Some people go back to the church because they just lost hope in the African spirituality because they thought what they was doing was right and the people that they hooked up into in the African spirituality were legit, but they found out, well, damn, this is just like the church. Damn, this is just like going to the mosque and being around the Muslim.
Yeah.
Or this is just like being around, well, I got to go somewhere. I can't do this no more. So most of them, a lot of them go back to church or wherever they, they were at before.
You go back to church.
The spirituality of, of our ancestors.
Or they just leave it alone and they don't do nothing.
Right.
I know a lot of people like that too. They just be stuck and stagnated. And, that's not good. Because hopelessness, depending on your situation, it's real out here right now. It's people committing suicide. It's people that suffer from depression and anxiety. And unfortunately, they tried to tap into African spirituality. And they just had, a bad experience for whatever the reason was. Sometimes maybe it was their fault. Sometimes it was other people's fault. Most of the time it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
But they don't have the right teachings. They don't have the right person, the right guide. And that can happen to you.
A lot of times people, a lot of women that's lost hope is because they were told by priests that part of the Ebo was for them to sleep with them.
Yeah.
That's almost like a final straw. Many women have fell for it. Many have not fallen for it. But these things were put before them or said to them. And the ones that fell for it. You know what I mean? And so now I see a lot of them, or I hear from a lot of them that saying, this is what happened. And, I've been abused. I'm bringing them on charges, and this IFA thing, I don't want to be a part of it no more.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was getting away from the church.
I don't like IFA.
And, it's like I went back to the church.
Mm-hmm.
You hear these things.
Yeah.
And
it's not IFA. It's not Orisha. It's not African spirituality. It's your experience that you had.
Yes.
That was the problem. It's not the whole thing, because there's many people that it saved their lives. Literally, we're having the most beautiful experience, and I really feel bad for the people that haven't been able to tap into that.
Yeah.
So number 5, go ahead.
Number 5, no, we can go to number 5. It's frustration.
We go right into it. Frustration. All of that leads to,
That's
people get frustrated, and it's like, I don't know who to trust. I don't know where to go. I don't have a teacher. I don't know what to do. And they just get frustrated and they just say, forget it. They just take their shrine down, or they leave it up and they don't do nothing with it, and they just go about life trying to figure it out.
Some people leave their orishas just sitting.
Some people throw them away.
Go to them no more. They take them to the river and throw them in the river.
Check in with the African spirituality blueprint. Let's talk IFA.
Sure.
That's what we created this for, because we know there's too many people out there that might be watching this right now that's in that situation.
Oh, there, best believe it is. That's no doubt. There's a lot of people out there in this situation.
And it's really a beautiful thing if you learn how to tap in correct. But the thing is, going back to what the Baba said earlier, you have to get the fundamentals. If you skip over that, everything else, if you don't get the foundation right, then the rest of the house is not going to be right.
It's gonna be
It's
rocky.
going to be leaning, the wall's going to be cracking, the ceiling, the roof going to be sliding, moving off to the light. It's not, if you don't get the foundation right, whatever you do after that is not going to be right. It's not.
It's important.
Yeah.
It's important. Like, know that you have free will.
I say.
Know that in this tradition, in this culture, you have choice.
Daniel.
You have ori. You have an ori. And because you have an ori, that means you have choice. This is not about me taking you into my ile and being only up under me.
Right.
That's not how that works. I can educate you, but when you're ready to move on, you say, well, Baba, I think I got everything that I got from this ile. I think I'm going to move on. Your Baba or your I should be able to say, Ashe, I give you my blessings as you continue your education in this.
If they truly care about you and your spiritual progress and your growth and development, that's the attitude that they will have.
This thing about if you leave my ile, you got to turn your ilekes in.
Right.
I've heard of it before, but I've never agreed with that.
Nah.
Me personally.
What kind of relationship did we have then? If now you gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like, that don't even, that ain't right, And, but if the person gets an attitude, they catch feelings and they get emotional and start threatening you, then that's not where you're supposed to be. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to be scared because they this high person and you think they're going to do something to you and all of that. Most of the time, them people, they not high as what you think they are. They high to you, but to us, they nobody, because we know that the people that are acting like that, they the ones that really don't have the ashe, and they don't, because if they had really had it, they wouldn't be acting like that. That's not how we, that's not how you do it.
And this is about EY.
Character.
This is about building
progress, development.
EY progression, elevation, evolution.
Benyo.
This is about constantly bettering yourself.
I say.
As the priest, too.
Mm-hmm.
We have to check in. We have, as the Baba, your Babalosha, if you want to say your Babalosha and your Ialosha, best believe if they're good Babaloshas and Ialoshas, they have somebody they have to check into.
And if they
if
don't,
you have a Babalosha and Ialosha that don't have nobody to check into, that's a problem.
red flag.
Something ain't right.
Yeah.
If they don't have their own master, they got to check in.
I say. Keep that. That's a gem right there. That's a jewel. So 7-week African spirituality blueprint.
I say.
If you want to donate and to the cause to help us continue to do this work to make more of the content that you love, feel free. We got one-time donation, monthly donations, whatever you want to do. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe. We give thanks and praise in the name of Allah Dumare. I am Awo Ifa Jaminire.
I am Awo Ifa Tegunshe.
And you are tuned in to
the best,
the greatest
podcast
on the planet Earth.
Let's talk Ifa. Ashe wa
Ashe wa. Odabo.
Odabo.